Gila Kasla, Nugwa Muskamzi, Gayutlanach Tsachis, Gayutlanach Quagils. My name is Kaleb Child, and my Kwakwala name, my ancestral name is Muskamzi, which makes reference to four whales piled up on top of each other. I come from the community of Tsachis, which is a Quagils community on northern Vancouver Island. And currently I'm living at home with my wife and 3 daughters. And I've been working in education since completing NITEP in 2001. And I'm working as the district principal of First Nations programs for School District 85. I've got, in that 13 years, it's been an absolute privilege to serve community and to really take the education of our practice and the education of philosophies of our people to other communities. I began my teaching career at the Saanich, what was the Saanich Indian School Board, now Saanich School Board, for the first 7 years of my career prior to moving home. And so for me, it's been a powerful journey, and having the opportunity to be back here sitting with you at UBC has really been a magic full circle for me, given that I arrived on this campus those many years ago with the intent to return home to my home community to serve the young people, my young relatives in the school system, and I get to do that every day. And so thank you for inviting me, and thank you for allowing me to be part of this conversation today. Well, I think in my work, in our work in education, really we can often refer to ourselves or our own philosophies, and I don't really feel that. I consider myself more in the role of messenger, in walking the two worlds that is so often referred to. I reflect on my great aunts and my great grandmother, and so many of those role models and those influences in our lives, both as nurturers and caregivers, but also culturally as well, and encouraging. And I always go back to those teachings and values of what it means to walk in two worlds. And so that was something that I think really carried me through in my life and my own educational experience, and all of the challenges that we can face. A couple of the strong values or core values that are so often referred to by our elder speakers is one that Auntie Vera Newman, that I have the privilege to work with out of Alert Bay, she always talks to our educators and our system as the fundamental value of Sanala. And she translates it to mean to make whole, to be whole, in the concept of the medicine wheel or the big house framework, or the concept of four. Really that is one of many words that is used, Maya Hila, to respect oneself, to respect each other, to respect all things. Tlakwala, tlakwala, love, the expression of love in our work. I'm always lifted and reinforced in our work by the language of the heart that is our Indigenous languages, and I think that we miss that in our business and in our service to communities and in education. We forget, we do too much of our work from here and not from here. And it's also those same influences in my life that referred to me in such a precious way. A term of endearment given to our eldest born is Ditya or Gitya, precious one. What la you is a term given to our sasam, our children. But gwalayu, my very reason for living. Hasta halayus, my very reason for breathing. And so I think coming from those places in education, remembering and reinforcing daily in our work that's truly who we are of service to, is that child and the heart that they carry as the future of our communities. In my role as a messenger and as that connector, in our work in walking two worlds, as someone who comes from a very mixed ancestry, I think that one of the privileges and gifts that I have is being able to be safe for people. I'm non-confrontational, in some ways, not always, But at the same time, I have a very strong cultural background, cultural connection, and great networks within the community. And so I take it very seriously to try to provide as much opportunities for professional learning by way of connection to community, by bringing in those elders, whether it be through our role model program and getting those catalysts in our community in front of students and connected to teachers, connected to administrators, connected to schools. And at the same time, taking that learning outside, taking that learning out into community. We hold much of our work, much of our meetings at the Umista Cultural Center in Alert Bay, because the emotional impact that comes with work in community really sets the foundation, really reinforces the importance and value of why transformation must occur and needs to occur in our business. And we can no longer continue doing what we're doing to get the same results that we're getting. Some of the challenges I think we face, and I don't necessarily want to just put it on local teachers or local administrators. I think that we're all in this together. I think that as Canadian society, as British Columbians, as mainstream society, we have a huge responsibility to decolonize ourselves. As I keep referring to walking in two worlds, and in my upbringing, I always felt that it was our responsibility as First Nations to have to do that better. But really, I think my ideas have now flipped, and it's not First Nations that have to. I mean, there's work that we need to do, but really the understanding needs to go to mainstream society, and they have to acknowledge their own mindsets, whether it be deficiency mindsets, the internalized racism that they've been brought up through the same curriculum or lack of curriculum that's existed in their school experience and general experience in society around First Nations. The lack of understanding. So often, I try to be careful when I say this, but so often people will refer to being sensitive to First Nations issues. Well, that's loaded language. What makes them issues? These are priorities. These are realities that have not been created by our people. And it's a huge responsibility, I think, for all of society to address it by way of mindset, of going from a fixed, maybe deficiency way of thinking to growth mindset, setting high expectations for every one of our learners, engaging every one of our learners and going, well, maybe I can't consistently do it the same way I've always done this. Maybe I don't have to be this all-knowing vessel of knowledge. Maybe I can facilitate learning and create opportunities and connect to each one of my individual learners, because they're all different. They're all unique. And it's a tremendous skill, and it's a tremendous challenge, and I think a tremendous responsibility for us to always carry that as our professional growth and our responsibility to the future of society. And so those are some of the challenges I think that we have together, and ultimately I believe that it's our collective work. So many of our warriors in our communities, our elected chiefs and councils, our hereditary leaders, our elder speakers, our great-grandparents and our ancestors that have gone before us have carried this work for so long, and this burden on behalf of survival and revitalization and really that identity for our people. And so we owe it to them as much as we owe it to the future generations. We have to be always looking back and calling on those that rest on our shoulders as we move forward for our future generations. Well, I'm very proud of much of the work that goes on. I know I openly acknowledge the Indigenous lens that NITEP created for me and created for us as educators, and the different times that maybe we were in going out into the world and always feeling that we had something more to prove, to address maybe some of the institutional racism that is out there. And so I was always fearful of the public school system. I'm a huge band school boy and huge band school supporter. I believe in that autonomy and that destiny of our people being created by our people. But I quote Nella Nelson, who's a a huge role model for me and a relative, we call her Auntie Nella. In a meeting once, she reminded me that our public schools are full of our children, full of First Nations students of Aboriginal ancestry. And so she really inspired me to take that next step in my life and move into maybe somewhere where I wasn't as comfortable. And through the 6 years going on to 7 with School District 85, I'm so proud of the transformation and the work that goes on in the North Island. And I know you asked me about strategies, but I think truly our work stems from the strength of our communities, the relationships that have been forged long before I've been in the world, and that trusting belief, regardless of all of the politics and the heavy work that we have to do daily, in the spirit of our children, as I open with. There's just that fundamental value and belief that it is collective work that we must do. And so some of the work that we've done in recent years, the transformation for me is that, you know, there's the idea that you have to connect with, say, the district principal of First Nations. You've got to contact Kaleb to talk to him about an initiative, or, you know, to create that. And now the work that's going on in schools is just natural. The schools, the principals, the teachers, the support workers are connecting out to the community and vice versa. So I'm getting the call saying, hey, can you make the trip out to Ba'as over on the mainland to traditional territory? Can you come to Mimquamlees with all of the grade 10s at North Island Secondary School, because we're going to go to an old village site with the elders in the community, and we're going to take 80 people out there for the day, and we're going to talk about the creation stories of how the first people came to that place, and how our people have lived there, as well as the dark times, you know, around forcible relocation from some of our communities, and the impacts that's still playing out on our living, breathing elders who are there to talk to the kids about how fast things have changed and the tremendous challenges and the tears that has been their experience, so that all young people, not just our Aboriginal people that maybe for the first time get to go to a place of their ancestry, to be with their ancestors on the land. For the same student that may be second-generation logging family or second-generation immigrant family, to go and say, these are the truths of the people who own these territories. These are the truths of the first people. And for whatever reason, it's been absent in all of the textbooks and the old school way that maybe we've considered teaching or schooling. And we're really transforming that philosophy towards learning and engaging students and reflecting back who they are in their school, in their educational experience. Well, I think the tremendous benefits of taking learning outside, I mean, especially for teenagers. My own daughters are 12, my twins are 12, and our youngest is 11, and they've had a wonderful experience through their elementary years, and I'm fearful of soon being, you know, asking them, you know, how was your day at school, and them saying, it was boring, you know, or what was best, what would you rather be doing than going to school? Well, I'd rather be sleeping, and I think it's just sometimes the structures, the way that our system still reflects what a school room looked like in the 1800s and the 1950s, and in 2014 we still have our schools set up in the same way. And so when we provide students an opportunity to be on the land, to be outside, to experience project-based learning, and to build on their passions and their interests, or to expose them to opportunities to find those, we hook them. You know, we hook them, we engage them, and then what comes with that is the attendance issues, the tardiness, the disrespect. And I think of our Kwakwa language programs as much as they are in their infancy, and as much as we must do far more around language revitalization across our systems. I think of our shared understandings of the Kwakwa speaking peoples, junior courses, senior courses. We've created all of these new opportunities again to try to engage students. I think of the young people that are in their, you know, for the first time they're in the course going, wow, I get to hear my language. I don't have to take French. What do you mean I can actually take this digital recorder and go and talk to my grandmother? and hear some of her stories. So those catalysts really allow for, again, for students to reflect and to see themselves in their learning, and to truly understand maybe the circumstances that they come from. When we get to talk about colonization, when we talk about residential school, when we talk about the potlatch ban, and we talk about the Indian Act, and we talk about the reflection of North Island communities, and really the realities that we're growing up in and that we're all connected to, whether that's for the First Nations student and or the non-Aboriginal student, I think it really serves to give them greater tools than what we've done previously to live a better way, to live in a good way, and to be able to move towards reconciliation, to move towards revitalization, and to see ourselves individually as players, as having responsibility in that work.